What happened to Matt Drudge? Did Drudge sell DrudgeReport.com? Or did he sell out his principles? That's a question that's been raging in conservative circles for months and was highlighted back in July by Tucker Carlson.
If you've seen the Drudge Report recently, you know that it has changed dramatically, 180 degrees. Matt Drudge is now firmly a man of the progressive left. At times, his site is indistinguishable from the Daily Beast or any other woke propaganda outlet posing as a news company. But the question remains, what happened to Matt Drudge?
Now, you think that with the tumultuous news cycle we've seen over the past few months, and the fact that this is presidential election season, Drudge's site traffic would be through the roof. No, it's actually cratered. In August 2019, Drudge was pulling in over 100 million readers. In August 2020, despite the news cycle being far more intense, he pulled in just 63 million readers. That's a 40% decline in the space of just 12 months. On one day last week, Drudge did 25 million views, when the website used to routinely top 35 to 40 million a day. As the True Pundit website notes, Drudge, even if he is still running the site himself at this point, remains uninterested in slowing the bleeding. And the site isn't just bleeding out, it's hemorrhaging. What's responsible for this catastrophic collapse in traffic? Well, the Drudge Report just isn't the Drudge Report anymore. And for that reason, he's lost a huge chunk of his loyal core audience. Trump supporters. After the execution of a Trump supporter in Portland by an Antifa extremist, Drudge chose to title the story with the headline, "Protesters, Trump supporters clash in Portland." Joseph Curl, who used to run the Drudge Report with Drudge, responded on Twitter, quote, "Drudge just wants more turmoil. Doesn't give a shit about America. Make bank, dude, but have some effing principles. You once did." Many cited Drudge's prioritizing of the bottom line as an explanation for his support for Barack Obama in the 2008 presidential election. And despite what happened to the country in the aftermath of Obama's election, Drudge's traffic and ad revenue continued to explode. So if Drudge is only concerned about clicks and ad revenue, why is he presiding over an editorial stance that's responsible for a catastrophic collapse in clicks and ad revenue? I personally met Drudge years ago for dinner. He was very courteous and humble, but obviously fortified by his success and the courage of his convictions. Drudge is famously obsessed with privacy, and on the night he paid for everything in cash. So you'd think he'd be the one guy who would be up in arms about how coronavirus is being exploited by governments across the world to build a technocratic surveillance grid modeled on China's onerous social credit score. Track and trace, drone surveillance, medical martial law. That kind of statist hellscape would have enraged the famously libertarian Drudge that we knew and loved from a few years ago. And yet, in many ways, his website has become more hysterical and alarmist about COVID-19 than even the likes of CNN and MSNBC. Coronavirus lockdown laws are also the most blatant affront to libertarian principles in the modern era. So why would arch-libertarian Drudge vehemently support them? The Drudge Report is also now basically a megaphone for Trump's biggest critics. Every time a new anti-Trump is about to publish a book, Drudge turns over half of his front page to them. Why? What happened? The question remains, is Drudge even running his own website anymore? Or did he sell it? Not according to a National Pulse interview with an individual called Kane, founder of competitor website Citizen Free Press. According to Kane, Drudge is still firmly in control of the Drudge Report.
This is going to upset a lot of people. Matt Drudge has not sold his website. I can confirm Matt Drudge is still running that site. So Matt is still involved with the site, and I won't get into the private reasons that I know, other than a well-known conservative website operator got confirmation from Matt himself. I'll just say that through email. But ultimately, it's Drudge, and Drudge turned against Trump, and he supports, Joe.
Kane also said that Drudge may have ingratiated himself so much with the mainstream media that he doesn't want to be ostracized by his new friends.
To a certain extent, Matt has developed a huge number of mainstream media friends over the last 20 years. And he's guilty of some virtue signaling.
Fearing the kind of establishment backlash that was experienced by all the prominent people who helped Trump sweep to victory in 2016, Roger Stone, General Flynn, Alex Jones, Julian Assange, did Drudge sell out? The real explanation may be somewhat more prosaic. Speculation is raging that there was a big fallout between Drudge and Trump's people. Apparently, Drudge used to enjoy regular access to the White House. Then one day he was told he wasn't needed anymore. Who delivered that message. Yeah, I've got my own suspicions, and I get why that could turn Drudge against the Trump administration. Given what Drudge did for Trump from 2015 onwards, that kind of treatment would anger anyone, but it doesn't explain why he seems to have jettisoned many of his core principles. This video isn't a personal attack on Matt Drudge. God knows he's provided millions of clicks to my articles over the years, and for that I'm truly grateful. Things may have happened behind the scenes that I don't know about, but it's fair to say that I'm one of the many millions of Drudge fans who feel disappointed and deflated by how the DrudgeReport.com is now barely distinguishable from CNN. In his legendary 1998 National Press Club speech, Drudge dreamed of an American press not beholden to corporate masters, and yet it appears that his website has become the exact thing that he once hated. When you're being defended by a far-left outlet like the Daily Beast and a Class A turncoat grifter like Oliver Darcy, something has gone drastically wrong. I sincerely hope that the White House extends an olive branch, an invitation to Drudge, so him and Trump can bury their differences. Whether that's at all likely seems like a long shot. It may be too late, just like it may be too late for Matt Drudge to ever recover his core audience.
Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Aqui é o tradutor, eu tô passando para te avisar que eu tô numa campanha para conseguir pelo menos mais 9 apoiadores até o final do ano. Esse canal não é monetizado, então totalmente depende de você, eu preciso muito do seu apoio para manter esse canal atualizado e vivo, né, no ar. Os links para apoiar esse nosso projeto estão na descrição desse vídeo e no comentário fixado. Então é muito fácil e muito simples de apoiar. É graças a essas pessoas incríveis que eu posso estar trazendo conteúdo para vocês. O Warlei, a Sandra, a Majestade, o Thiago, o Antônio, o Arthur, o Carlo, a Erika, o Rubens, o Caio, o Flávio, o Gustavo, o Vunho, a Spanish.vaz, o Eduardo e a Renata. E é isso aí, pessoal. Não se esqueçam de deixar seu like, seu comentário e até mais. Fui! Grande abraço.